Good day, friends. Today we will discuss microeconomics. So, it is an important topic as far as IBBI syllabus is concerned, and you may get at least 3 marks questions out of this topic. So, first we will discuss syllabus. As far as syllabus is concerned, so you have to discuss learn consumption, indifference curve, consumer surplus, elasticity, price mechanism, determinants of price mechanism, individual and market demand schedules, conditions, exceptions, and limitations of law of demand, individual and market supply schedules, conditions, and limitations of law of supply, highest, lowest, and equilibrium price, importance of time element, pricing of products under different market conditions, perfect and imperfect conditions, monopoly, etc. Factors of productions and their pricing, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, and other factors, theory of rent, capital and interest, types of capital, gross interest and net interest, organization and profit, functions of entrepreneur, meanings of profit and theories of profit. So this is a syllabus which you have to discuss and learn. As far as weightage is concerned, it carries a 3% weightage. So first we will discuss what is microeconomics. Microeconomics is a branch of economics that studies behavior of individuals and firms in the market. It focuses on the choices that individual firms make and how these choices interact to determine prices, quantities, and the allocation of scarce resources. So, it is a branch that deals with behavior and performance of a small market segment. It is with the behavior of small market segment such as firms and households. The subject helps to explain how the limited resources are allocated among the various individuals to satisfy their needs and wants. It also outlines how the limited resources can be utilized to attain maximum output and social welfare, but it depends on how the demand and supply tool affect the market segment. Examples of market microeconomics are consumer behavior, labor market, supply and demand in an individual market. These factors help investors to make vital investment decisions. So next thing you have learned, what is consumption? So consumption refers to use of goods and services. It refers to use of goods and services by households. So it is a fundamental concept in economics as it drives demand and influences economic growth. So first thing you have to learn is what is consumption. So it is basically use of goods and services by households. So what are the different types of consumptions? First one is durable goods. So items that last for a long time. They are called durable goods and provide utility over time, such as cars, appliances, and furniture. For example, buying a refrigerator which will be used for several years. So this type of consumption, it will be called durable goods. It comes under the heading of durable goods. And then non-durable goods. These are the items. These are consumed quickly and need to be purchased frequently, such as food, beverages, and toiletries. For example, purchasing groceries for daily meals. Then services. Services again, intangible services are intangible products that provide utilities such as healthcare, education, and entertainment. So, for example, paying a doctor's visit. This comes under the heading of services. So, these are the types of consumption. Then, what are the factors that in are influence in consumptions? First one is income. Higher the income, generally higher will be the consumption. So higher income, higher will be the consumptions as people have more money to spend. For example, a salary increase might lead to more spending on luxury items or vacations. Prices. The cost of goods and services affect the consumptions. Higher prices can reduce consumption, while lower prices can increase it. For example, a drop in fuel prices might encourage more travel and increase spending on transportation. Then consumer confidence. When a consumer feel optimistic about the economy, see here, about the economy, they are more likely to spend money. For example, positive economic news can boost consumer spending on big ticket items like cars and homes. Then interest rates. Lower interest rate reduce the cost of borrowing. So what it will do it will encourage consumers to take loans for big purchases. For example, lower mortgage rates can lead to increased home buying. Then examples of consumptions, household spending. Let us suppose a family spend money on rent, utility, foods, and entertainment. This spending is essential for local economy as it supports business and services. For example, a family of four with a monthly income of 80,000, it spends 20,000 on rent, 10,000 on food, 5,000 on utilities, and 5,000 on entertainment. So this is household spendings. Then next is autonomous consumption. So basic consumptions that occur regardless of income levels. This is most important thing you must learn. What is autonomous consumption? Basic consumption that occur regardless of income level means spending on essential items like food and shelter. On these items you have to spend regardless of your income. So this is called autonomous consumption. For example, even during economic downturns, people still need to buy basic necessities like bread and milk. Then next is induced consumption. This is autonomous consumption. Next is induced consumption. Consumption that varies with the income levels. That is called induced income. As income increases, so does the consumptions. So let us suppose a person get a bonus at the work. It might lead to increased spending during let us suppose on dining out or purchasing new gadgets. Next is indifference curve. So you must know what is indifference curve. Basically, is a chart. In this curve, difference curve is a chart. It shows various combination of two goods or commodities that consumer can choose. So that consumer can choose to have the same level of satisfaction. So point along the curve represent combinations that will leave the consumer equally well off. A consumer is indifferent to the changes in a combination as long as it falls somewhere along the curve. So means let us suppose there are two things, hot dogs and hamburgers. So let us suppose a person you may be he is maybe indifference to buying 9 hot dogs and 20 hamburgers, 10 hot dogs and 26 hamburgers, 14 hot dogs and 41 hamburgers. So these points lies along the indifference curve. This is indifference curve. These three combination will provide the same utility for a consumer. So these points A, B and C, which represents these combination, they will provide same utility to the consumer. So this type of curve, this type is the curve which shows these points, that curve is called indifference curve. So next is consumer surplus. So what is consumer surplus? So it is the difference between what consumers are willing to pay for a goods or service and what they actually pay, what they are willing to pay and what they actually pay. So it means the additional benefit consumer receives because they pay less than what they were willing to pay. Let us suppose a consumer was willing to pay 100 rupees for buying a movie ticket, but he buys it for 70 rupees. It means consumer surplus is 30 rupees. He was ready to pay 100 rupees, but he was able to buy it for 70 rupees. That this difference of 30 rupees, this is called consumer surplus. Next is elasticity. This elasticity is as far as it related to economics. We are to study here elasticity in relation to economics. So in economics, elasticity measures how the quantity demanded or supply of a good respond to changes in price, income or other factors. So it is how much the quantity demanded or supply of a good demand respond to change in price, income or other factors. So let us discuss price elasticity demand. So price elasticity demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price. Means let us suppose if the price of coffee increase by 10%. So what will happen? So more people will try to have tea instead of coffee. So what will happen? Its demand will decrease. So if the price of coffee decreases by 10%, the quantity demanded decreases by 20%, let us suppose. So what is the price elasticity demand? It is -2. So -2 means 20% divided by 10%. So it is price and elasticity demand is -2. Then income elasticity demand. It measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in consumer income. So if the consumer income, let us suppose consumer income increased by 5% and demand for luxury cars increased by 15%. So 15% divided by 5%. 3 is the income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand is 3. Then cross price elasticity of demand. So it measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded for a one good to a change in the price of another good. See here, quantity demanded for one good to a change in the price of another good. For example, if the price of tea increases by 10% and the demand for coffee increases by 5%, the cross price elasticity of demand is 0.5. Means 5% divided by 10%. So cross price elasticity of demand is 0.5. Then price mechanism, how the price is fixed. So price mechanism, it is a process by which the forces of supply and demand interact with each other to determine the price of goods and services. So here we have to discuss these things. Maybe price depends upon many other factors, but here we have to discuss the forces of supply and demand, how they interact with each other to determine the price of goods and services in a market. So let us break down its component and related concept. So determinants, what are the determinants of price mechanism? First is supply and demand. So these are the primary determinant. Prices rise when demand exceeds supply. So prices rise when demand exceeds supply and fall when supply exceeds demand. This is the basic fundamental of the market. When the demand exceeds supply, prices rise. When the supply exceeds demand, prices fall. Then cost of production. Higher production cost can lead to higher prices. Then government policies. If the government is if increases the taxes or decreases subsidies or regulation or some imply sub regulations, these things can affect the prices. Then market structure, the level of competition influences the pricing power. Then external factors, economic conditions, technological changes, and consumer preferences. This changes the price. Then we discuss how the individual and market demands schedules. What are the these individual and market demand schedules? Individual demand schedule, it shows the quantity of goods that a single consumer is willing to buy at different prices. Individual demand pool, it shows the quantity of a good that a single consumer is willing to buy at different prices. Let us suppose if the price of apple drops from 80 to 40 kg. Price of apple drops from 80 to 40 kg. An individual might increase their purchase from 2 to 4 kg. So this is individual demand schedule. Next is market demand schedule. Then it shows how the overall market demand will increase with the change in price. So aggregate the individual demand schedules of all consumer in the market. That is market demand schedule. So let us suppose if 100 consumer buy 4 kg of apple at 40 kg, then the market demand is 400 kg. Then we have to discuss next is law of demand. What is law of demand? So it says the law of demand states all other factors remains constant. The quantity of demanded of a goods falls when the price rise and vice versa. When the quantity demanded of a goods falls, when the price rise, when there is a price rise, the demand of the good will fall and vice versa. So exception is caffeine goods, inferior good with upward sloping demand curves, and Veblen goods, luxury items that where high prices increase desirability. Limitations assume rational behavior and ignores factors like consumer preferences and income changes. So as far as real estate is concerned, there are various factors that affect the demand for real estate. So basically we have to discuss demand and supply in relation to real estate. So based upon these factors, we can drive the equations. Demand is demand. The factors are income of the customer, price of piece, pricing of the housing, cost of borrowing, credible availability of credit. CRT is consumer preference, TI is investors preference, and PS is price of substitutes and complements. So if it will depend, if the income of the customer increases, demand will increase. If the price of housing increases, demand will decrease. If the cost of borrowing is less, demand will increase. If the cost of borrowing is higher, demand will decrease. If the credit is easily available, then the demand will increase. If the consumer is able to find the product as per his liking, so as per his preference, the demand will increase. If the investors are ready to invest in a certain area, then the demand will increase. Then price of substitute. So if a person, let us suppose a person uh, to needs to buy a two bedroom 2 BHK room house at, he's getting it at 50 lakh, but in the vicinity of another house is available at 45 lakh with the same 2 BHK house. So if the substitute is available or complement is available at a lower price, he will not readily pay for this house. So it will depend price of substitutes and complements. Demand will depend. So if you see demand curve, this is a demand curve. See here at price A, quantity demanded is QA. Then if the price falls to PB, quantity demanded will increase to QB. So along the x-axis we have quantity, along the y-axis we have prices. So see here how the demand law is applicable. This red line shows demand curve. So demand curve shown in red shifting the to the right, demonstrating that inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So sometimes you get questions. This demand curve slopes downwards from left to right. It downwards from left to right. Higher prices reduce the quantity demanded. Then law of supply. It states that all other factors being equal, as the price of goods or service increases, the quantity of goods or services that suppliers offer will increase. So during the increase in prices, the suppliers will try to put more and more products in the market. So have to have more and more profits. So this is the law of supply. The law of supply says that as the price of an item goes up, suppliers will attempt to maximize their profit, increasing the quantity offered for sale. However, in examining the forces determining the supply curve, we need to analyze the factors upon which the supply of goods depends. Factors determining the supply of real estate can be stated in the form of a supply. So if you see the chart of law of supply, see here when the price was P1, quantity put in the market by the supplier was Q1. As the price increases to P2, he will put quantity Q2 in the market. When the price is increased to P3, he will try to put quantity Q3 in the market. So limitations assuming perfect competitions, it assumes perfect competitions and ignores factors like production capacity and technological changes. So factors that affect the supply of real estate can be stated in the form of supply function. S, it is a function. S is supply of real estate property. It is a function of price of the property, availability of land, availability of efficient builders, availability of credit, availability of skilled labor. So if the price of the property increases, more and more uh, real estate companies will try to put more and more products in the market. If the land is easily available, so it will lead to more supply. If the efficient builders are there, they can build more and more houses in the shortest possible time. And if easy credibility credit is easily available, then the supply will increase, and if skilled labor is available, more and more houses can be constructed in a shortest possible times, so supply will increase. These are the factors on which real estate supply of real estate depends. Then highest, lowest and equilibrium price. Highest price, the maximum price consumer are willing to pay, that is called highest price. So let us suppose during a shortage, price, for example, during a shortage, prices of essential goods like onion onion can skyrocket means during some shortest period prices of onion skyrocket. You know this fun, fundamentals thing. Then lowest price, the minimum price producers are willing to accept. This is the maximum price consumer are willing to pay. Lowest is minimum price producer are willing to accept. For example, during a surplus, price of perishable goods like vegetables can drop significantly. Then equilibrium price, the price at which quantity demanded equals quantity supply. That is equilibrium price at which quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. If the demand for supply and of oranges both equals 500 at 3 kg, then rupees 3 kg is the equilibrium price. Then next topic is importance of time element. Short run prices can be more volatile during immediate supply and demand changes. For example, a sudden increase in demand for masks during a pandemic can cause prices to spike. So long run, prices tend to stabilize as producer adjust their output and consumer adjusts their consumptions. For example, over time, the price of renewable energy sources like solar power has decreased as the technology has improved and the production has scaled up. Then next is pricing of product. So how the pricing of product varies significantly under different market condition. Now we will discuss how the pricing of product varies under different market conditions. So these vary significantly under different market conditions. So what are the factors that determine perfect competition, imperfect competition, and monopoly? Now we will discuss them with examples for each. First one is perfect competition. So a market structure where many firms sell identical products. In perfect competition, many firms sell identical product with no single firms influence the market price. Then it is called perfect competition market. So prices are determined by, so in this case, prices are determined by the force of supply and demand. Firms are price takers, meaning they accept the market price as given. For example, agricultural markets like those for wheat or corn often resembles perfect competition. So farmers sell their products at the market price, which is determined by the overall supply and demand. Next is imperfect competitions. Imperfect competition includes several market structures where firms have some control over the pricing. These include monopolistic competition and oligopoly. First is monopolistic competitions. So what is monopolistic competition? A market structure where many firms sell similar. See here, many firms sell similar but not identical product. So firms where many firms sell similar but not identical products, then it is called monopolistic competition. Each firm has some power to set prices due to product differentiation. Pricing firms set their prices based on the product's perceived value and differentiation. They have some control over pricing but face competition from the similar products. For example, restaurant industry. It is an example of monopolistic competition. Each restaurant offers a unique dining experience, allowing them to set prices independently for the same food item. So you may get pizza in a restaurant for rupees 1 and the same pizza from Domino for 700 rupees. So this it is monopolistic competitions having similar product but not identical product. Then oligopoly. A market structure dominated by fewer large firms. These firms have sufficient control over pricing and can influence market conditions. So, how the prices are set? Prices are often stable and may be set through tact and explicit collusion. Firms may engage in price wars or cooperate to set prices. For example, automobile industry. It is an example of oligopoly. A few major players like Toyota, Ford, and Volkswagen, etc., they are controlling the large market shares. Then monopoly, a market structure where a single firm controls the entire market. Where a single firm controls the entire market for a product or service with no close substitute. The, how the pricing is set in monopoly? A monopolist sets price to maximize profit. Prices are typically higher than in competitive markets because monopolist can restrict output to raise prices. For example, utility companies such as those providing, let us suppose those are private companies, those are providing electricity in metro cities, they often operate on as monopolies in a given region. They set prices based on regulatory guidelines and their cost of structures. Then factors, what are the factors that affect the production in real estate? These factors are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. First one is land. So land, you know, land in it basically land it encompasses all natural resources used in production. It is not only land used for buildings. Encompasses all natural resources used in production, such as agricultural land, forest land, and water. These all comes under the heading of land. Pricing, the price of land is typically determined by its location, fertility, and availability of resources. So these factors, location, fertility, and availability of resources, affect the price of land. So rent is the income earned from land. Rent is the income earned from land. For example, if farmer uses land to grow crops, the rent paid for farmland is the cost associated with the factor of production. Then labor. Labor refers to human effort used in production process. Human effort used in production process, including physical and intellectual works. Pricing, wages, and salaries are payment made to the labor. These are influenced by factors like skill level, how skilled is the labor, their experience, and the demand for specific jobs. For example, a construction engineer working for a construction company receives a salary for their expertise and time. Number three is capital. So capital includes all man-made resources used in productions. All man-made resources used in production such as machinery, buildings and tools. Pricing, the cost of capital is often represented by interest rates or the return on the investment. Depreciation also affects the pricing of capital. For example, a construction company uses machinery to produce infrastructure. The interest paid on loans taken to purchase the machinery is a part of capital cost. Next is entrepreneurship. So what is entrepreneurship? It involves the ability to combine the other factors of productions to create goods and services. So entrepreneurship is the ability to combine the other factors of production to create goods and services. Entrepreneurs take on risk and innovation required to start and manage business. Pricing, so profits are the rewards for entrepreneurship. Remember, these are influenced by the success of business and risk involved. For example, an entrepreneur start a new restaurant, combining land, restaurant space, labor, chef and waste staff, and capital, kitchen equipment. The profit earned is the return for their entrepreneurial effort. Other factors, technology. Advances in technology can enhance the efficiency of production and reduce cost. The pricing of technology is often reflected in the cost of acquiring and maintaining technological tools and systems. For example, a manufacturing company invests in automation technology. What it will do? It will increase production efficiency, reduce labor cost, and increase output. Next is knowledge. So, knowledge and education can be considered additional factors that improve productivity of labor and entrepreneurship. For example, a company invests in training program for its employees to enhance their skills. So, it will do what it will do. It will lead to high productivity and innovation. Next are theories of rent. First is the Ricardian theory of rent. So what Ricardian says, its theory says, it says rent, it explain how rent is it explains how rent is determined by the productivity of land. It is explained as below. What is the basic idea? According to Ricardian theory of rent, it is rent is payment made for using land. It arises because different pieces of land have different levels of fertility and productivity. For example, let us suppose plot A is very fertile, produces 100 unit of crop. Plot B is moderately fertile, produces 70 units of crop. Plot C, less fertile, produces 40 units of crop. So farmers will use most fertile land because it gives highest yield. A more As more land is needed, they will use plot B and then plot C. The rent for each plot is determined by its productivity compared to the least productive land in use. How the rent is determined in this according to Ricardian theory? C. uh, A is producing 100 unit, B is producing 70 units, and C is producing 40 units. So rent will be difference of A and C. Plot A, it produces 100 units, so that its rent is the difference between its yield and plot C's difference. 100 minus 60. So 60 unit will be the rent as per Ricardian theory. And then for plot B, it produces 70 units and C produces 40 units. Then the difference of 70 minus 40. So rent for plot B will be 30 units. So as per C produces 40 units, so it has no rent because it is least productive land in use. So this is Ricardian theory. Second is modern theory of rent. So modern theory of rent extend Ricardo ideas to include all factors of production, not just land. See here, other factors are also included in it, not just land. So rent is seen as an extra earning factor makes over next best alternative use. So basic idea is rent is the difference between what a factor earns in its current use and what it could earn in its next best alternative use. For example, suppose a piece of land can be used to grow either cotton or wheat. So cotton earns 150 rupees per unit and wheat earns, let us suppose, 100 units. So if the land is used for cotton, the rent is the difference between earnings from the cotton and wheat, means 150 minus 100. So this 50, this is the economic rent. 100 minus 50 minus 100. So this is modern theory of rent. Then scarcity rent. It rises when the supply of land is limited and demand is high, pushing up the rent. Then differential rent results from the difference in the productivity of various plots of land. That is differential rent. So more productive, more fertile the land, more will be the rent, as we have discussed in Ricardo theory. Then what are the functions of entrepreneurs? So entrepreneurs play a crucial role in economy by combining various factors of production to create goods and services. The entrepreneurs perform the following functions. First is risk bearing. So, entrepreneur takes the financial risk of starting and running a business. They invest their own money and resources, and their profit is a reward for taking these risks. For example, a tech startup founder invests in developing a new app, risking their savings and time. Next, what the entrepreneur do? First, they bear the risk. Second, they organize resources. What they do, they bring together land, labor, and capital, as in the case of real estate, to produce goods and services. This involves coordinating and managing these resources efficiently. For example, a restaurant owner hires chefs, purchases kitchen equipment, and leases a space to operate the restaurant. Then innovations. Entrepreneurs introduce new products, services, or processes. Innovation can lead to competitive advantage and market leadership. For example, an entrepreneur develops a new eco-friendly packaging solution that reduces waste and appeals to environmentally conscious consumers. Next, what the entrepreneurs show do, they are decision makers. They make decisions. They make strategic decisions about the directions of the business, including product development, market strategies, and financial management. For example, a retail business owner decides to expand their product line based on the market research and customer feedback. Then leadership and management. Entrepreneurship Entrepreneurs lead their teams, set goals, and ensure that the business operations align with the company's vision and objectives. For example, a CEO motivates employees, set preference performance targets, and oversees daily operations to achieve business goals. Next is, what is meaning of profit? Profit is a financial gain realized when the revenue generated from business activity exceeds expenses. See, when it is a financial gain, first thing is it is a financial gain. When revenue generated from the business activities exceeds expenses, cost and taxes involved in sustaining these activities. So it is a key indicator of business financial health and success. So what is gross profit? Gross profit means revenue minus cost of goods. That is gross profit. For example, a company sells product worth 1 lakh and cost of goods is 60,000. Then the gross profit is 40,000. Next is operating profit. So gross profit minus operating expenses, that is operating profit. For example, rent, utilities, salaries. For example, if operating expenses are 20,000, then the operating profit will be 40,000. 40,000 sorry 20,000. 40,000 minus operating expenses 20,000. That is operating profit. Then next is net profit. Net profit, operating profit minus interest and taxes. That is net profit. After deducting 5,000 in the interest and 3,000 in taxes, then let us suppose 5,000 is the interest uh, to be given on credit and 3,000 are taxes to be paid, then the net profit will be 20,000 minus 5,000 minus 3,000. When 20,000 minus 800,000 means 12,000 is the net profit. Then next is theories of profit. There are several theories that explain profit and its determinant. First one is frictional theory of profit. It says profit arises due to temporary disequilibrium in the market caused by unexpected change in supply, demand, and supply. For example, a sudden increase in oil prices can lead to higher profit for oil companies until the market adjusts. Next is monopoly theory of profits. What it says profit are higher in monopolistic market where a single firm controls the supply and can set prices above competitive levels. For example, a utility company with exclusive rights to provide electricity in a region can charge higher prices, leading to higher profit. Third is innovation theory of profit. Profits are, according to this theory, profits are the reward for innovation and technological advancements induced by entrepreneurs. For example, a company that develops a groundbreaking medical device can earn significant profits due to its unique product. Next, fourth is risk bearing theory profit. It says profit compensates entrepreneurs for taking on the risk associated with uncertain business ventures. For example, a venture capitalist invests in high risk setup, high risk startup, expecting higher returns, and if the business succeeds, he will be getting higher returns. So next is dynamic theory of profit. This theory says profit results from dynamic changes in the economy, such as technological progress, changes in consumer preference, and market expansion. For example, a tech company profits from rapid adoption of new technology and increased demand of our digital services. So this is all as far as syllabus of IBBI is concerned for microeconomics. So if you like, please comment in the comment box. Please like, share, and comment on the video. Subscribe our video channel www.youtube.com at Valuers Club 07 for more educational videos on valuation and other related videos. Of course, all these videos are free of cost. And if you have any suggestion, please comment in the comment box. So yes, your suggestions are always welcome. Thank you. Have a nice day.